In this current generation, do we have role models within our households as men to lead the coming generation of
without any background? And there will be those who are very disciplined from an abusive family. There is no solution in this country other than prison.
Welcome, my beautiful Mzansi Voice viewers, to our very first Green Table podcast that we are starting today. It's an environment where we'll try to get everybody just to take our opinions out and find out what's going on in our country and in society as large. And today, and before we go on to the topic that we have today, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, leave your views so that you understand and get your perspective of the topic that we'll be dealing on with today. Like and just support the channel to grow, man. It's a local channel based in Val, so we'll appreciate your support. Today we decided to tackle a very important topic, but first of all, I would like to welcome my guest today. Some of you know him from radio. Some of you don't know his face, but I think he's not new to the channel. His face has been here, but today we've decided to switch things around and just have him as our guest so that he can indulge us on the topic that we have today. And that Alex, let us welcome you to the Green Table podcast. How are you today, my good sir?
No, man, thank you very much. I feel privileged to be here to the Green Table today. The environment is very good, and let me just greet the viewers out there and the guys that are watching, and let them subscribe and get involved in what we're going to talk about this afternoon.
Yes. Before we go any further, that Alex, for somebody who's just getting to know you, who just sees you for the first time here today, what can you tell us about Mr. Alex Ranuga? Who is Mr. Alex? Where does he come from? Anything that you want to tell the viewers at home?
Look, the profile is a bit big, but let me just give the intro. Mm-hmm. I'm a pastor. Mm-hmm. I'm a God-fearing person. Mm-hmm. I used to run footprint media. Mm-hmm. That was called Ekas newspaper. I ran it for 10 years. Which the coverage was Mpumalanga, Johannesburg, Gauteng, then actually 3 provinces, Northwest, Gauteng and Mpumalanga. Mm-hmm. So I moved into Theta FM. Mm-hmm. Now I'm the presenter, political co-host of current affairs. It's been 11 years now with Theta FM. Mm-hmm. I've been involved in politics. Yeah. I'm a political advisor of the MMC Jones in Mfuleni.
Okay.
Yes. That's all, because I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it's a bit steep, but what I liked is to know, or you're a giant in the media space, especially on radio.
Yes.
Talking about the 11 years experience that you have on radio, and I think today's topic will resonate with you more based on the experience that you have. I believe people always come on radio to voice out their views on certain things, of which we found it very key, Hore. We should have you today because we feel like you can give us a bit of an insight on this topic based on the experience that you have, especially being, like you said, a pastor and being on radio. There's this huge topic that's there out here, which is gender-based violence. How do you feel about gender-based violence in general, so to say, especially with what's happening in our country?
Yeah, it's a very good topic. It's a very good topic. I will appreciate it again to be invited, because we have this topic almost every week in my programs and radio. Mm-hmm. The gender-based violence is a crisis in this country. Mm-hmm. People are angry. Mm-hmm. People are hurt. Mm-hmm. People have been disappointed. There's a crisis of unemployment. Mm-hmm. In this country. There's a crisis of divorce, high rate of divorce, high rate of separation in terms of relationships. And there's also a higher rate of kids who grow up with single parents. Others, they grow up in the families that it's violated by either a mother or a father, one of the two. But I would like us to tackle it in this manhood abuse.
Okay.
As much as the government is tackling in terms of women and children. And now these men, they are left with no hope. They are left with anger. All the time they are treated like they are perpetrators, monsters, killers. And there's been so many organizations, not on my name, a lot of organizations that are trying to advocate for men. You know, most of men, they feel like that they are mistreated by the law itself, by the constitution itself, police stations, sexual, all the departments that are supposed to advocate for this gender-based generally. Let me start here. You will live as a husband. There's work. You buy a house, buy furniture, you love your wife, you love your kids. Unfortunately, this country now is facing a crisis of retrenchment. And others that will be retrenched at work. When they reach at home, their life is different. Kids now, they're no longer respecting the father the same. Their wives or the girlfriends, they cannot treat the men the same because he's no longer working, he's no longer bringing food, he's no longer bringing income in the house, he's no longer taking them out to restaurant, he's no longer treating them as they used to. And that bring a low self-esteem to a man. And men, they don't speak most of the time. They will keep issues in their heart until they explode. Remember now, you cannot trust to talk to people. I will talk to you about my problems and you take it to other one. You know, they keep it until they blast, and it's where the danger comes. Now you see people killing wives, killing kids, doing everything. Two, you are a man, you have your own stuff or resources or assets for that matter. Then you cannot afford to pay them. They repossess the car, they repossess the house, they repossess things. Now it makes you a failure in front of your wife, in front of your kids, in front of your neighbors, your community. And that itself causes anger because you don't know what to do to respond to issues. It's an issue that is a problem. In the show, I'm called by men and boys taking their frustrations to us. It's an issue that I think the government should look at it very careful, and they should prioritize it because it's an issue. Most of men, they end up being in prison and doing years because of gender-based violence. But no one that addresses the issues thoroughly to make sure that they empower men, they develop men, they bring programs that they will speak to men. I will make an example. There's guys who go to prison and come back. The guy, he has a criminal record. He tries to be a good man. He has a relationship. But he will be judged with the stigma of being an ex-convict. He cannot be welcomed by his community, his family. He's not welcome in companies because he has this criminal record. Anger pile up to the heart until he does crime again. There's a lot of issues that are triggering the anger of men. There's others who are in love or in relationships or in marriage without realizing that the woman is not there with love. They're just there with the resources. And when the resources are gone, or when she feels like, now I'm okay, they will just divorce and take the car, take the houses and everything. The men will end up going to streets, others going back to the shack. At the age of 50 years, at the age of 55 years, what can you do if you are getting divorced in the age of 50, in the age of 60? Will you start a new relationship in that age? Will you be able to work? You will be able to please your partner in that particular age. It's when anger comes. Women, I'm not criticizing, we are checking it both sides.
Both sides, yes, definitely.
Others, there will be even having affairs because the husband is no longer working or the boyfriend is no longer working, to the point that the husband will end up knowing the boyfriend of the wife, or the boyfriend will know the other boyfriend of the girlfriend, and they will accept it because now she brings food in the house, she brings the resources, and she will be called names. Ositlatla, you are useless, all kind of names. And unfortunately in churches we don't address this. We'll be just saying, you know what, pray, trust God, read the Bible. It does not address it physically. To say, you know what, we need to come up with program as men. To say, let us bring all the businessmen that are there. Let us bring all these organizations that are dealing with men. Let us bring the magistrate. Let us bring the prosecutors, police, prison orders. All these men that are working in different departments to sit and have talks and program as men that will encourage each other, that will be able to speak to each other. Unfortunately now, organizations, they will want fees. 30 rand to come in, 50 rand, 100 rand, and others, most of them, they are no longer working. It's a crisis situation.
Before we get to the whether the government will get involved or the organizations that might help, I will take it back based on my personal experience. Years back, I think I had an issue with my partner, and then I felt like I couldn't handle it, so I went for counseling. I'm very fortunate to be able to go for counseling, of which some of the people now, they cannot afford such a privilege. So now this the therapist who was there, she asked me a question that even today I don't think I'm able to address. She said to me, growing up, how was the relationship between your father and your mother? You know, how did your father treat your mother? And what were some of the things that you didn't like? And I mentioned I didn't like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I told myself when I grow up, I don't want to be like that person. I don't want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he said, what did you do to ensure you don't do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you told yourself when you were growing up? And I didn't do anything. And the problem is, in the house, even though you're telling yourself that you will not do 1, 2, 3, maybe you won't arrive late or you won't hit your lead or what. The fact of the matter is you grow up in that situation. That's what you know. If a woman talks back at you, the only thing that you see is maybe your father hitting your mother. That's what you know. That's what you grew up under. Irregardless of what you tell yourself, irregardless of what, but you grew under that circumstance. It's what you know. So the kind of role models that we have within our households as young boys growing up, some of the influences that end up creating men that maybe abuse or can't be able to speak in such an instance. Based on that, do you believe in this current generation, do we have role models within our households as men to lead the coming generation or the young boys that are coming up in terms of how to deal with emotions, how to deal with anything that the pressure that comes with being a man? Do you think there are such role models within our households as we grow up, especially with I would say our fathers, for the young ones that are coming up?
It's a very good question, which is I appreciate. But it's two ways. I grew up with a single parent. My mother, they separated with my father. In those age, I was a young boy, 2 years, and you know, I was 2 years old.
Okay.
And they separated. I used to ask my mother, did he hit you? He says, no, your father didn't lay even a hand on me. They are young boys who are taught very well, who grow up in a very good, disciplined family, that there was no fight, there was no violence. But these people, they become so violent without any background of violence. And there will be those who are very disciplined from an abusive family, you know, but they will think, actually they will take a decision to say, you know what, I don't want to do what my father did to my mother.
Yes, definitely.
I promise myself that. I will make an example, a personal example with myself. I didn't think one of my children would grow up without me. I would have to just maintain them far away. I did not plan that. Now, life brings surprises to us. And most of young people in South Africa, they grow up with single parent. Meaning they will be facing the boyfriend of mama. And boyfriends, there's no guarantees of in terms of fighting. And we grow up without knowing how to raise boys. Because your father was not there. Now you don't even know how to discipline this boy. Because you were not disciplined yourself. You were not giving directions. You were not even counseled to say, you raise a child like this. You know how to raise a child in a motherly way. Because it was your mother that was teaching you. But the point is, the real point is that the question of the lady that asked you that, how did you grow up? To me, it doesn't matter. It does matter to some other people. But now to this issue, it's a matter of drugs. It's a matter of alcohol. It's a matter of all these toxic things that our people do. The environment has changed. Our country is no longer the same. There's fight everywhere. Movies that they are watching, these kids, it has an impact. Environment outside, it has an impact to a person. Without the environment of a family, structure. Now, the entire environment, it has an impact in one's life. But I still believe that the government should, or our people should gather themselves, talk this issue out, and have groups and discuss these issues monthly or weekly to make sure that it doesn't happen. I talk about the abuse emotionally. It doesn't start physically, it starts emotionally. You know, there are things that will be happening and they will be quiet. You know, and others, the neighbors, that will be telling you, you know, this and this, your wife is doing this or your girlfriend is doing this, and you try to hide it. Let's leave wives and girlfriend. Kids, they can disrespect you if you no longer working.
Definitely.
We live in that environment. How do you address a person that is not even respected by his kids? You will end up thinking that they have a spirit from their mothers or from their, grandmothers and everything. And kids, they also know how to take advantage in terms of the separation of the parents, in terms of the fights between the parents, and then they will take advantage to say, you know what, if I choose side here, I know that one will be on my side, and then I will live a good life. So it's an issue that I think we should address it, and our people out there should come up with these issues. We should talk out this. We must have discussions like this. Social media everywhere. We should talk about men to men in terms of that. This suffering men, these men that are not working, there are guys who are rich with business people and they're down. And when they're down and out. Nobody that is talking to them. Nobody is saying, my brother, you will do it again. Even their own personal families, they reject them. We're living in that environment. Now, that's one of the things that causes anger to men.
Yeah, but I do understand the points that you are raising, and in terms of the emotional blackmail especially. And I think that saying, in society, we tend to apply it, I think, overboard, where you bottle so many things within you, and that when they're too much, they explode. And the explosion causes a lot of damage, especially what you see within our community.
Of course.
But taking it into Kasita Rona, do you feel like there are enough support systems, either from the government, the organizations that are there, that really focus on the young men that are coming up in terms of guiding them and leading them into the right path of how to deal with issues, how to treat our women, stuff like that? Do we have such things from the government, from the local people within our communities, and all the organizations, the non-profit organizations that are set up in dealing with such issues? Or do you feel like men are still not comfortable in approaching such organizations?
That's a very good question. It's a very good, powerful question, and very on point. In South Africa, we have a problem. Our government has taught us that if I must help my fellow community member, I must be funded by the government. I must be subsidized by the government. If this thing does not have money, it does not matter how difficult it is, how dangerous it is in our community. We don't take it serious because it does not have funds. You take your HIV, for example, HIV and AIDS, it has funding. People, they open organization. In the organization, in non-profit organization, there will be an AIDS project. There will be a cancer project. Every project that is subsidized by government, these people, they will take it. Take, for example, this one of Nyaupe. It does not have subsidy, but it's killing our young people. It's killing our people. But it does not have money. People, they take to ignore it. And also this one of men that are bitter, that are angry. It's a pandemic. In the true sense, it's a pandemic. I think government should take it very seriously. Now, that's why I was saying when we started here, I wish our business people, they can come together. Our academics, they can come together, teachers and everything, and put up some certain program to say, I make an example, I'm owning 6 trucks or 8 trucks. In my hiring of staff, I should be having a list of this men forum to say, I know that Mr. Mofokeng is going through a tough time. Mr. Mofokeng, I don't have anything to give you, but you have a driver's license. You can drive this truck. Mr. Mofokeng, I have a shop. Please, can you drive this buggy and get a stop for me? Mr. Mofokeng, can you just pack this, just anything that will develop a man, that will bring the dignity to a man or sustainability to a man. It will help. It will help. Because it's also, I understand there's women that have businesses. But also that thing, that stigma to say my boss is a female. It also, but now you don't choose when you suffer. But I'm saying all these business people, why can't we come together as men? Because they have businesses, they have finances, they have connections, others, they are working in all these departments. They will be giving solution, they will be giving answers to men, only if we come together. But unfortunately, because if I'm Alex, I'm working in a good department, that I know that I can empower 10 men. I will never empower these 10 men because I want to appear as a good man to their women, because I will be taking advantage, because now I should be driving a German car, I should be wearing an Italian clothing, and their women should disrespect their men because of seeing me. It's also a crisis that we have. We don't have sympathy to say, but my brother is my brother. I must upgrade him, I must develop him. Instead, I will be having mentality to cheat this guy that I see that is going through a lot. Sometimes they even come to you as a businessman to say, man, Mr. Alex, can you assist in the house? There's no food, there's nothing. For the first time, I will want to see, how does your wife look? If she's beautiful, I will be taking you with the car, bringing the grocery in front of her. Automatically, I'm causing a crisis. That's why most of the relationship and most of the marriages, they are destroyed by the very same men that we are trying to assist. Now, that's why I'm saying, if men, young people and men come together with our resources, we empower those that they don't have resources. We develop those that they don't have resources. I'm telling you, number will go down. We will grow up as black people who understand how to assist one another. That's a solution right there. Yeah. Right there to say, even if I have a garden, the job of a garden, I should prioritize in the very same group to say, my brother, I'm not undermining you, but I'm saying, can you come and do some certain jobs, and then you will get something there. And then we live together. as men. I think it's my opinion.
That's the opinion.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, which will come to my next question, is based on the kind of treatment that men go through and they can't get help in any way, either from families, from some of the organizations, the country's policing, the police in general, because like I said, this is it's a topic that really resonates with me because I went through the same thing.
Yeah.
So I remember this one time. Oh, by the way, I'm divorced, so any lady who wants, they can come. So I remember this one time when I was still married to my wife. Yeah. So she was getting aggressive to a point where she would lay hands on me, obviously. Then we had a family meeting, and it was my family and her family. So I told them, all right, hey, the problem is this one. This girl, upon my wife, let me say it, one sharp, you know? Literally. So now, do you know what the response I got was? I'm not talking be a man. You understand? Be a man. How am I supposed to be a man? I'm being a man on opening up to both families. Now, if they tell me be a man, how am I supposed to be a man?
I mean, they want you to respond in the very
aggressive manner. So, how do you think the families should help in order for us as men to open up to the kind of abuse that we get from our female counterparts? I know even the females have their own issue, and today just that we're heading on the GBV based on May figures. But how do we get families, especially families, churches are very ignorant to gender-based violence. I know it's a very sensitive topic. And also the police, because most people will tell you when they get to the police station, they'll say the same thing. Why can't you be a man? It's just, look at her. No, man, just be a man, be firm. So how do we get our families to get involved without intriguing us to respond to the same manner? Because my sense was, me being a man, if I stayed in that relationship, me being a man was to hit her back. That's how I'll be a man. So how do we get our families to be involved or make it easier for men to open up, and the organizations, especially the government, the police, when somebody goes and reports that they are being abused by their female counterparts? What do you think could help in establishing that our families and the police are more open to the fact that men also can be subjected to gender-based violence?
Abuti, to tell you the truth, it's these guys, they don't have solution. That's why they are saying respond, be a man, man up, because they don't have solution. They don't have. How do you deal with somebody that you don't even know their background? I'm talking about their relationship now and marriage.
Yes.
You don't know how they grow up. You don't know the circumstances, the hurt that they went through. Because when you start to propose each other, they cannot be open to you.
Yes.
They will try to appear as angels and romantic and very good people.
Yeah.
And down the line, it's where you realize some elements and flags that are saying, you know what, I think here it's a problem.
Yeah.
Now, my opinion is that two people should sit down and talk and handle it the way you feel fit, but avoiding violence, which is where the challenge comes to men. When we respond to our women without fight, we end up being called by names. You're an idiot.
Definitely.
You are stupid. Ubari. There's some momish. There's some more. Things like that. Those kind of words, they causing a bomb, ticking time bomb within a man. And others, they grow up with low self-esteem as men. But when they grow up and then you try to come up with such statement, that is a fool, he's what, and then the man is going to come back to you very hard. Secondly, the point that we are not talking about, there is no solution in this country other than prison. It's a flag of a police. It's a baggy. It's a court. It's a magistrate. The solution that they have, if these guys they are doing this thing, arrest them, and you will give them counseling in prison.
Sure.
There is no counseling that is taking care of a man before going to prison. There's no such organization. There's no such programs. They are not advertised. They are not well known. It's you know it only when you go to prison, and sometimes it's too late. Because when you go to prison, then you get some things you don't know that is going to help you or not, and then some others they get the help, others they get something else. Now I'm saying it is. They say cure. Actual prevention is better than cure.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I think we should deal with the issue before somebody dies, before somebody gets raped, before somebody gets cut pieces, before somebody go to prison, before somebody before somebody dies. We should have programs without anger, politely as well.
So.
We must come up with issues and programs. I'm telling you, we're going to be a good society. Our boys will grow up in a good society. We were told as we grow up, some of us, that you know what, if you want to be a man, go and work, provide for a family, and protect your family. But now it's happening the other way around. You cannot provide for your wife because there's no jobs. Instead, it's going to be your wife that is providing for you. For how long? And what's going to be the reaction? The colleagues of the wife. If they come or they go to the party or they go somewhere to one of their colleagues, and then you must be there and they must introduce, this is my husband, Alex. Oh my goodness, he's not working. I'm the one that is working. What does it say to you? Even if she's supporting you buying clothes, even if she's supporting buying your food, trying to give you, other women, truly speaking, they're trying so hard to make their husband look good. But for how long? And somehow you'll see the element of saying, I'm tired. Of saying, I don't respect you as I must or as I should. Because you are the one that was supposed to provide. But I'm the one that is providing for you. That's the issue.
So,
I don't know if I'm responding.
I don't know, my beautiful viewers, this is a very hard topic. It's one that can take the entire day, night, evening, because it's one of the topics that we don't really touch base on, more especially when it comes to our male counterparts, with the reasons that we mentioned earlier on in terms of bottling things up as men. But we're trying to talk about it, and we hope to get the same reaction from you, our viewers, to say, this is the solution that we have, or this is what I've been going through, so that we can all tackle it together. Even the women, they can come on board and just tell us what could be the solution based on the experiences maybe they have with their male counterparts. And Alex, in closing, do we have, especially here in Val, organizations that we can refer young men and male in general for such programs, or is there an organization like that here in Val that we can refer our viewers to, especially the male counterparts?
Others, they used to come, but they don't. I wouldn't say there's one or two, but I know there is, but they're not addressing these issues that we're talking about. They're just putting it as part of the agenda, not prioritizing it. That's why a lot of men and young people, they were saying, "But Alex, can you start this organization? Can you do it?" I said, guys, there's no use that I put you in the hall, we talk about it, and there's no solution. I don't want now just to gather people and you don't have a solution or answers to them. That's why I'm saying the day that I'm going to do it myself, because I'm going to do it very soon, magistrate should be there, prosecutor must be there, police people must be there, all these people must be there to tell us, you know what, you need to be patient. When you have a case, handle it this way. Advocates and lawyers should be there, telling us, someone, your emotions, if you're emotional, you must do this. Business people must take podium. Tell us, guys, come to us. Organizations that they have money, funders, they must come and say, guys, put yourself together. We can put a certain amount of money. Try to make organizations. As men, as men, trying to develop itself. We need something like that that will move. That if man goes out in the morning, when they come back in the evening, there will be bread on the table. Because our nature, we were born like that. We were born to go out. When we come back, we must bring something in the family. It does not matter how big it is, but at least if I'm bringing something in the table to make sure that I provide. At least if I'm undermined by the small thing, but at least I'm bringing something in the table. Now, I think we should come up with such programs that they will be addressing the issue of unemployment, the issue of anger, the issue of betrayal. We didn't go deeper to betrayal.
Yeah.
It's one of the issues, the betrayal.
Definitely.
There are people who get married, as I said before, knowing very well that I don't love this man. I just love his money. And I'm going to get married with him. After 6 months, I'm going to divorce him. And I'm going to make him an idiot. I'm going to take his cars. I'm going to do what? 1, 2, 3. Secondly, there's a second issue that we didn't talk about it. The issue of chronic diseases. I will have love, I will have money, I will have everything, but only to find I have certain chronic diseases that I cannot do it in my marriage. They cannot support my marriage. And somehow, a person will take advantage of that. And doing cheating, fornication, or adultery, taking advantage of my sickness. And there's a lot of men who are, remember, we as men, we don't go to clinic, we don't do checkups, we don't do these things. And even if I have problems, I will keep it to myself. But the person that will know it will be my wife. And my wife can only whisper to my daughters, sons, to say, I'm end up doing this because your father is weak here and here.
Here and there.
Now it becomes like it's my fault. I ask for it. But my wife cannot come and says, honey, let's try to go to men's clinics. Let us try to do something. Let us try to do this. Let us come. Others, they don't even try to do that. Actually, they become happy. If now I have one of the chronic diseases, and when I'm having it now, it will be like, what do you expect me to do? What do you expect me to do? It causes anger because in the house I will be laughing. Kids, I will be laughing with kids. But personally, I will be knowing that this woman, she's doing something. Now, that's the sickness. The last one, this one is very sad. The Bible says, as I said, I'm a pastor, the Bible says, you will leave your father and your mother and your family and come together with your wife. And your wife will leave her family and become family. There are a lot of men, about 60 to 70%, that they left their families and friends. They come close to their wives. And when something goes wrong in that marriage, or disappointment, or betrayal in the marriage, you don't have friends.
You have nothing.
You don't have family. Now they are dealing with you in the corner. That makes a lot of anger because you don't know where to go. Now others, they take a resolution to say, you know what, I don't have a family. I lost everything. I'd rather take them with me. I'd rather take my wife. I'd rather take my kids. I'd rather kill them than kill myself. Because that element of saying, I left everything for you. I left my gang. I left my family. If he's a criminal, I left my gang. If he's a cultural man, I left my family, my culture because of you. Others, they even leave a religion, for that matter, for a wife. And now when there's that problem, and then the problem it's there, it becomes anger. I think because of time, we'll come back to this issue. Because it's a very broad issue, that it has a lot of things to talk about, that we need to handle. But before we close, I will say to business people out there, let them call Mzansi. Let them call us. All businessmen, all academics. Let them bring their opinions. Let them bring their suggestions. Believe you me, this is going to work. This is going to work. I really adore and admire the taxi industry. They played a major role in terms of developing men. Most of them, they're from prison. Most of them, they're helpless. They have only driver's license and the public. But those guys now, they're building families and everything. They're driving taxis. Despite that, they undermine the kind of line of work in terms of being called taxi drivers. But how many taxi drivers do we have in this country? Their families are living good. Now, something like that, organizations like that, that they will be responding to development of men. Thank you very much.
Mzansi Voice viewers, you had it from yourself. Mr. Alex put it very well that it's a broad issue that needs to be dealt with in a very serious manner. And he just put up his hand to say to all the businessmen, especially where we are based in the Val, let us all come together. Let us try to help the upcoming generation of our male counterparts. Let us try to have programs that will ensure that we deal with issues that men, especially based on our topic, deal with them on a daily basis that they cannot get help anywhere else. We would love to hear the comments and the solutions that one can come up with, and to get contacts from our people, government, the police, as we had said, just to all come together to find a solution to at least maybe here in Val, as the Alex said, that he doesn't remember hearing one organization that really deals with gender-based violence on male figures. Just maybe we could end up having one organization that will really help the male counterparts, the upcoming generation in terms of dealing with, he said it, betrayals, emotional abuse, physical abuse, which will make it easier for everybody to talk about all of those things. That is it for the Green Table podcast for today. We will see you on the next episode. And please don't forget to subscribe, to like, and we'd really appreciate those comments just to see how far we can take this topic and ensure that we help our fellow South Africans. This is Mzansi Voice. It's your first ever Green Table podcast. Until we see you.